Good afternoon, my name is Carrie, welcome to my channel. This is going to be a reading for Sun, Moon and Ascendant Scorpios. All the videos are time-stamped now, so if you don't want to hear me waffling on for a little while and shuffling cards, then feel free to check down in the comments section. The first comment will be the time the reading starts. You can skip straight ahead to that. I shan't be in the least offended. Usual rules apply, take what resonates, leave the rest. And it's often worth checking out your moon and rising signs because sometimes we resonate with those more, and sometimes they just give extra information, you know, give you a more complete picture of what's going on with you at the moment. If you do not know what your moon and ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below because I put a link to Cafe Astrology on there. If you put in the time, date and location of your birth, it will give you your full natal chart as well as explaining to you what that actually means. It'll be very, very useful. And then you can go back and check your moon and your rising signs. Got some flippers going on but no jumpers, which is interesting. Right. If you're a returning subscriber, I love you to the moon and back. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. If you are not currently a subscriber, I would super appreciate it if you would consider becoming one. Like, it would mean the world to me. It helps to raise the visibility of the channel, which gets me out to more people and allows me to help more people than I might otherwise be able to. If you're wanting a personal reading, I can be reached on the email that's in the description box underneath this video. My website is coming together beautifully, and hopefully by next month that will be live, and it will have a booking section platform where you can just go ahead and book yourself in, which will be fine. But for now it's through the email. If you've already booked a personal reading, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support, and I hope that I can help you as much as you are helping me by doing that. And if you've booked a reading and I haven't got back to you yet, and that's very few of you now, I should think, bear with me, I am on my way. What else to say? Thank you so much for all of your messages and your comments. Like, I've been quite overwhelmed hearing from you all, but in, you know, the best possible way. It's the whole reason that I got onto YouTube in the first place was to help people, and I've really got an overwhelming sense that that is what I'm doing right now, which is utterly wonderful. Yeah, so keep them coming, because they're brilliant, and I do reply to everybody, so if I haven't replied to you yet, again, I am on my way. So looks like August is going to be an interesting month for you, Scorpio. Some interesting cards down on the table already. A few major arcana, which is interesting also. I'm trying to decide whether to pull another card for that one, because I feel like it's giving an incomplete. No, I'll move on, and then when I start showing you the cards, if I feel like I need to pull another one, I'll do that. I'm trying to bring down the length of the videos, hence me talking and shuffling at the same time, because I realised that some of them were quite epic last month, and not everybody has 50 minutes to sit down and listen to me burbling on. So I'm trying to make them a little better. My son actually suggested that I put out, alongside the main videos, put out like a TLDR series, which was basically just a summary of the videos in like 2 or 3 minutes. Like, obviously it would be missing quite a lot of the detail, but the salient points would be there for people who don't have the time to sit down and watch that. And I might do that because I think that's actually quite a smart idea, and it's quite tech savvy, so it's, yeah, it's part of that generation that's just grown up on the internet, so I'm inclined to trust his judgment a little bit on these. But we'll see how I go for time, because I'm a very busy woman, and you know, I can barely fit my existence into my daytime hours as it is. So I'm not going to show you the shadow card for the main read, because I cocked up and just like mashed the cards back together before I'd even looked. So if I end up pulling another card though, we'll see what's at the bottom of that, and that make more sense. Card at the bottom of the clarifying deck though is strength. This is not about physical strength. It's not dominating or overpowering things by force of will. This is soft power. This is making people do things because they want to do them for you. It's also the card of Leo. So if you've got a Leo in your life that you're dealing with, then it could be that that person is important. So we'll start off with an oracle card. So I've started bringing them into the readings, and initially I'd intended to have them at the end as like an extra message for the signs or whatever. But as I've done the videos, it seems that actually the oracle card has provided a really nice basis for the underlying theme of the message, so I'm doing it at the beginning instead now. And the card that I pulled for you before I started recording, was number 41. Be in service. And I quite like the fact that this is underwater for you as a water sign, because there's a very watery element to this. So I shall read you what the book says, because I haven't memorised all of these and they're short and snappy, so don't worry, you're not going to be here for like 10 minutes or something to be droning on. It says, give back to the world. When we give in equal proportion to that which we receive, we are able to maintain balance. There are so many people who are in need of your services. Being in service can be as simple as a kind word, holding a door open, or joining in a clean-up effort. Look to nature and its ability to support according to what is needed at the time. Your efforts in supporting others around you will help to create the energy needed to support humanity. So that's a little bit airy-fairy for some of you potentially, but the message is you know, think outside of yourself for a little bit. And for a deeply introspective sign such as Scorpio can be sometimes, that's possibly quite pertinent. Anyway, on with the reading. So the main cards that you've pulled, I'll just quickly go over them now, are the Lovers, which is Gemini energy, Temperance, Sagittarian energy, both major arcana, and that's important, and then the Three of Cups at the end. I'll go through the clarifiers as I go through the main cards and explain what those mean. So the Lovers has an obvious meaning, but I very, very rarely read it that way, because it's very, very rarely meant that way. In the original depiction, the Lovers was a man stood with two women, and he was called upon to make a choice, and the card was called The Choice. And that is how I almost invariably read this card. This is about feeling in the month of August that you are being called to make a choice. Now that does not have to be, and certainly there's little on the table to sway it towards a romantic relationship. This could be a work situation, this could be a family situation, this could be a romantic situation, but it could be any one of those things. For we are more than our romantic relationships, after all. But whatever you're being called to make a choice about, I feel like there's a certain amount of passion driving it. There's a lot of red on this card, and there are other cards in the deck that talk about needing to make a choice about things that possibly aren't I'd say not as important, but certainly don't charge up that kind of red area of you. So it could be about a relationship, but whatever it is, it's important to you. It's important enough to have those kind of feelings about it, and it's clarified by the Emperor. Now, the Emperor is the card of Aries, so it could very well be that you are being called to make a choice between an Aries person and someone else. And the reason why I wasn't sure whether to pull another card or not was because the next card to clarify the lovers was the Two of Cups. And if you were to read this in a relationship sense, not necessarily romantic, but any kind of relationship sense, then this could mean needing to make a choice about being in a relationship, whatever kind of relationship that is, with an Aries, or like that's a possibility. And I think I will pull another card for that in a minute, but there's another alternative interpretation, so we'll go with that first. Obviously we have the choice. But aside from being the card of Aries, the Emperor is a card of being in control. And he's not just in control of himself, he's in control of an entire fucking empire, right? This is a man who knows what he wants, he knows how to get it. And he does get it. Yeah. He's got armour on under his red garb, and notice here is the red colour again. And that says to me that he's fought to get where he is. It hasn't just been handed to him. He's put in work and he's put in effort. He's probably shed a bit of blood to get there, his own and other people's. So I incense stickers just like totally wafting around under the camera. Anyway, there are mountains in the background as well. So whatever he has gone through, whatever work he's put in, whatever effort and stuff, it hasn't come easily. The mountains talk about things being hard work, challenging, very, very challenging, and non kind of negotiable. You can't talk your way around a mountain. You literally have to put in the effort and climb over it, or you have to put in the miles and you have to go, hideously out of your way to get to it. But there he is. And that could be you. And I say that because if we're to read it in this sense, instead of the sense that I'm going to pull another card for in a minute, then what this says to me is that this is a partnership here. Right? There's two people in a union. In any sense, could be a business partnership, could be a friendship, it could be a love relationship. But you're feeling like you need to choose between these. So in some sense, this makes me feel like you are feeling watered down in the relationship that you're currently existing in. And you're thinking about regaining control over your existence by asserting your emperorness. And note how he's alone. Like there's nothing around him. There's no one around him. He has a female counterpart in the major arcana, but she's not here. It's just him. And one would imagine that being an emperor is a fairly lonely existence, actually. So maybe you got here to this point because you thought, because it's been hard work, and because you thought, actually, well, now I've achieved a certain level of thing, but now you're in a partnership of some description, and it's not actually as fulfilling as you thought it would be, right? That's the first interpretation. I'm going to need to pull another card just to see if there is, to see if there's an either or that you're dealing with here. So what's the other part of the choice for Scorpio? What's the other part of the choice for Scorpio? Okay. The cards are telling me a lot of things here, but they're not giving me a sign, and I kind of want a sign. So just bear with me a second. Choice between Aries or okay. So, as I've shuffled some more cards, the shadow card now at the bottom of the Clarify deck is the High Priestess. High Priestess is, well, she's the keeper of secrets. So whatever it is that you're thinking about at the moment, however this situation pertains to you, and you should interpret it, you know, in light of your own circumstances, you'll understand how it resonates. You're not sharing these feelings with a lot of people. Like, she knows everything, but she doesn't volunteer that information to anyone. And she's very intuitive. She's very intuitively led. She's the card of Pisces. So she's got a water aspect to her, which sits very well with your energy. But the cards that came out when I asked for an either an Aries, choice in a relationship between an Aries, I got all of these cards. All of these cards say to me that if this is the way that this resonates with you, you are currently in a partnership with an Aries. That's your current reality. But what you want is this. We've got the Eight of Wands, we've got the Four of Wands, we've got the Three of Pentacles, and we've got the Empress. The counterpart to the Emperor, but very different. Now, the Empress can be Taurus or Libra. I believe those are the two associations. But for me, because the Empress is, above all else, she is the mother, I feel that that sits with Taurus better. It's very earthy. It's very, you know, the process of birth and production of young and stuff, it's all earthy energy. I'll come to that. I'm getting overexcited. Put those down. You want to send a message to someone. I feel like you're stuck in your head. You want to send a message to someone about working together to create a new stability. Working together to create new stability. And this is a twin flame card as well, so if this is a romantic reading and this relates to you, then I feel like you're in a relationship with an Aries that you are second guessing now as to whether you want to be in, because you've got a twin flame knocking around somewhere who could be could be a Libra or a Taurus, or could just be a mother, or could just represent to you, like, just as the Emperor denotes control over things, so it's quite a controlling personality, can be a little bit domineering, so the Empress is a passive, more easy. She's in charge of a shit, don't get me wrong, but it's not as masculine, it's not as aggressive, and it's more concerned with new creation than it is of maintaining control over what it is. So Yes, that's very interesting. If this is not an Aries or relationship thing, then there's you wanting to control yourself and your surroundings and your environment, feeling like you're not doing because you're in a partnership here. But that partnership is actually giving you a lot of things that you want. Like, these are all super positive things here. And if that's the case, then even feeling like you need to do this is an act of self-sabotage that I don't think that you need to indulge in. But you'll know how it resonates with you, and you'll just have to let me know either way. I hope I've covered all of the possibilities there. Excuse me. So next we have temperance. And temperance is about healing and about balance. And it's usually as a result of some level of conflict, right? Because it reduces down to a 5. 5s are about conflict and change and things that we want to resist. But because it reduces down to, I feel like it's as a result of, you know, and it's 14, so it's quite high up. Like, there's going to be some healing occur in August. For you. And it's off the back of some conflict that you've been dealing with. Given that we've got the Lovers first, I feel like this is a level of internal conflict. You know, we've got all of these cards here to suggest what it is that you've been internally conflicted about, or whatever it is. I think you're going to start actually erring on one side or the other. You know, you're going to find your balance because you're going to pick one and move forwards. Temperance is a card of Sagittarius, but it's depicted as underwater, which I find really, really interesting. And actually, no, that's not true. Completely ignore that. There's a link with Sagittarius and Scorpio in my head, but it comes from the Knight of Wands, not this card, so don't, yeah, just ignore me for a second. But that water's deep, and that's very Scorpionic. But the healing's coming. And I think it's coming from a message that you're going to receive. Possibly from an air sign who's younger than you, so that would be Gemini or Libra or Aquarius. But I don't think the sign matters. I think the message is what matters. You have to take it as it resonates to you. And so the second card is the Seven of Pentacles, and like for years I always translated this as, you know, having set your harvest away and just waiting for it to ripen, and so that you can get in. And but it never really made any sense to me because of the way that the next card appears. I won't go into that and bore you stupid. But then I read last year somewhere that Pamela Coleman Smith's original depiction of this card had this. It looks a lot like a potato plant, but it's a pentacle plant. Actually blighted, like the leaves were turning brown. And then when you look at the chap's face, there, he actually doesn't look very happy. He doesn't look like a man who's excited to get to the point where he can harvest his pentacles. And that's because he can see that his crop is blighted. And that's the meaning of this card. The Seven of Pentacles is about putting loads of effort into something, only to realise that what it's going to produce is not actually what you want. It's not going to be in good condition. You know, it's going to be a vague approximation of what you thought it might be, but it's going to be shriveled and it's going to be brown, and you're not going to get anything out of it. And so it becomes then a card of cutting your losses. We have a card of cutting away before it. So there's a message here that makes you realise that it's time to cut your losses, and in doing so you begin a period of healing for yourself. Now, whether this is cutting your losses by leaving a job, or cutting your losses by leaving a relationship, or cutting your losses by, like cutting out that friend that's been a spiteful little bitch forever, and just it doesn't matter how much effort you put into this friendship, like it's just not ever going to bear the fruit that you want. I don't know. Like I said, fill in the blanks, but there's information coming into you that will allow you to see that whatever it is that you've put so much effort into, and there is effort here, this is a 7, that it's not right. And 7s are numbers of the spirit too. And so whatever it is that you've been putting all this effort into, what you've been trying to grow and what now will not grow, and what you will then heal from, has been somewhat of a spiritual lesson for you. Perhaps a lesson in understanding your value. Don't know. Like I said, you fill in the blanks. And the final card we've got is the 3 of Cups, and this is for me, is always a card of friendship. It's always a card of solidarity with others. It's the card of finding your tribe. These women are under the moon and they're dancing around with their cups aloft. And this is the only cups card on the table, so it's the only one really representing your element properly. So perhaps there's an idea that you've already got the 2 here, which is in your clarifiers. Maybe bringing in 3, moving up to the 3, is about diluting that relationship that you feel is diluting you by expanding your circle somewhat. It can be a card of moving away from that energy altogether, and maybe you're just returning to a friend situation. Maybe it's moving from a partnership to another job where there are more people, if you follow. But ultimately it always means friendship and companionship and bonding to me. And it's clarified by the 6 of Wands, and the 6 of Wands is a card of conspicuous victory. Like, it's sitting directly under there. And it's actually followed by the 5 of Wands in reverse, the right way around. Right? So victory comes from here. This is a card of conflict and fighting and things not being harmonious, and it can be very petty, but it can be a bit more than that as well. It can be those sniping arguments, it's the kind of sniping that you have with colleagues or co-workers, or even with your partner. When you're pissed off about something, you start snarking about something else, but actually what's driving you to do that snarking is not the fact that they didn't empty the dishwasher or that they farted loudly in your company. It's all the other stuff underneath, and this is just it coming to a head, but it's in reverse, so that means not fighting anymore. Victory comes from not fighting anymore. perhaps returning your relationship to that of friends gives you victory, because you're not in each other's faces, you're not in a relationship, you don't fight anymore, and that's a win for you. Whatever it is for you, whether it's the workplace or your home or whatever, the victory comes from not engaging in these petty arguments anymore. And coming back to something a little freer. There's a certain level of liberation implied in this card. And it's under the moon. So it's subconscious, but it's coming out into the open. Like, I don't even know if I'm explaining this terribly well. I'm going to pull another card for that, because we know that there are secret internal things that you're having to think about that are giving you a bit of a hard time at the moment. Three of Cups says it's coming out because it's an active card. It's an active emotion card. So it could be just as simple as, you know, stopping arguing will bring you victory, because you'll go with that back to being friends. You know, don't allow yourself to be baited by your partner, by your work colleague, you know, whoever. Give me another card for the Three of Cups, please. Got the Hermit. That's Virgo energy. But the Hermit's about knowing that the answers are inside you. Because invariably they always are. Like, you know. And as I come to that, so the Sun card is at the bottom of the deck. You know, the victory that you seek. What you're looking for, whatever constitutes the sun to you, will be achieved quite splendidly, in fact, by not fighting, not engaging in things in a petty level. Like, if there is anything petty about your environment at all, drop it, whether it's from you or whether it's coming from somebody else. You know, if it's coming from somebody else, don't engage with it, because that just brings you down. If you are doing it, and I don't feel like you are, I feel like you're thinking too hard a little bit to be bothered with being petty, then have a good think. The answers are there. You know, you've got the parameters of the choice that you're currently facing, that you are imposing upon yourself. And he's got his little star there, look. That's the answer. Don't let yourself get distracted, I think, because you're very, very close to making your decision. But whatever information is coming along in the month of August that's going to help you do that, it's going to make you realise that whatever you've put your effort into is blighted and needs to go. There's going to be an element of personal growth involved for you. As I've already said, like, there's growth here. maybe part of the rest of the equation that you're thinking about is regret over something in the past. Like maybe you left a job that actually you really, really loved. And it's not what you thought it was. And now you're looking to bring control back to your life. But whatever it is you're thinking about, there's a certain level of regret involved, and there's a certain level of history involved. It's something from the past that you need to have a mull over. But I think if nothing else, what this reading says is that you can see you're doing the reading. You can see you doing the thinking, you can see you doing the introspection. It's all happening. But actually, whatever comes along in August, it's going to tip you either way. It's going to help you make that decision. And I feel like it's not just you that is affected by this. Because if we bring it back to the Oracle card at the beginning, which reduces to a 5, just as Temperance does, the change that you're planning to make is quite big. I feel like it affects more than just you. Whether or not it's any of these characters that we've come across here, like I said, you fill in the blanks. But your decision will have an effect on other people, and it actually probably will have a very positive effect on other people. It's quite a baffling read, you know. I feel like that's a reflection of your state at the moment. You've kind of weighed down by a level of knowing that you need to make this choice. And it's a big choice. You know, this isn't just where are we going to eat tonight. This is big stuff. Lots of majors on the table. There's some advice for Scorpio. I swear to God that 2 cards came out there. Oh, they did. You got the King of Swords and the Nine of Cups. The advice from the Tarot is to be logical about your decision. Come at it with a logical mind, but go after what makes you happy. Like, it sounds a little twee, but you've only got one life, and if you're second guessing whatever it is that you're stuck in, whether that's a job, whether that's a relationship, whether that's even the place that you're living, if you're feeling stuck and you don't feel like there's room for expansion here, then it's time to go. It's time to move. It's once heard that like uncertainty is the most certain state that you can be in, and whilst I didn't like that because of the circumstances under which I heard it, it's true. If you aren't certain about what it is that you are in, then there's an element of doubt there, and that element of doubt comes from you not getting what you need from the situation, or understanding that you cannot grow any further in the situation that you're in, you know. And if there's something else that you're hankering after, if there's something that is your literal wish fulfillment going on here, then now's the time to boss up and cut those things out of your life that don't serve you. Get rid of them. You know, Paige is already here. He's going to bring you some information that's going to help you do that. Whatever you've been putting your effort into, it's not working out for you. Be strong. Go after your happy. You've only got one life, Scorpio. Don't waste it wishing it away, or even, you know, just failing to live in the moment because you're wishing for something else. I mean, that's an awful state to be in. I feel I've done like a lot of like backwards and forwards. It could be this, could be that, and that. Like, this isn't my energy, this is your energy. It's such a level of, it's not even indecision really. Like, I don't feel like it's indecision. It feels more like a fear of consequences. I feel like you would be desperately relieved when you were out of the situation, but the fear of consequences is what's stopping you from going forwards and achieving it. Yeah, and there will be consequences. It will affect other people. But I do overwhelmingly believe that those changes will be positive, if not perhaps in the short term, but certainly in the long term. Right, I'm going to go now, Scorpio. But best of luck with your decision making. Looks like August is going to be quite important for you. And if any of this resonated, please subscribe the channel. Like the video, send me a message. I love to hear from you. Genuinely love reading everything that you have to say. And yeah, I'll speak to you next month.